Hello, everyone. Today we are doing a second part to the live session for Module 2, the motherhood, connecting to the mother energy, session 1, okay? I want to give you an overview of the Bodynamics Somatic Psychology program so that you can get a better understanding of what it is that we will be drawing as we will draw the mandala of me, myself, and I, okay? Okay, I'm going to do the presentation and then in a separate video, I'll do the drawing with you, okay? The mandala drawing. Okay, so Bodynamics, also known as somatic psychology and analysis system, is a pioneering method of somatic developmental psychology and psychotherapy. It integrates current research in the psychomotor. Psychomotor refers to the body motor, gross motor, and fine motor skills. Development of children, about it connecting it to the cognitive and depth psychotherapy, brain research, as well as there is a special emphasis on quality of contact and on healthy relationships, okay? The founder of Bodynamics is Lisbeth Marcher, a Swedish researcher. She developed this program based upon 30 years of research that she conducted with her teams as she worked with children and adults in various psychotherapeutic settings. It is based upon the William Reich's body-oriented therapy. Well, William Reich brought out 5 major types of body shapes and how they relate to the psychosocial qualities of a person, okay? It's very important for you not to pay too much emphasis on the words in the parentheses, okay? These are very labelist words. This is one of the reasons why I studied this in details, and one of the reasons why I have such an issue with this is that because it overemphasizes basically the negative traits, the labels, like over here, the schizoid or the masochist or the psychopath, okay? Obsessional, that's the faulty, the faulty part of understanding how this method works. But that's why I am here to bring you to focus on the more of the positive, which is what I like. The Bodynamics approach truly does give you the more positive approach to what William Reich has discovered originally, okay? So there are 5 body parts, okay? The major distinction of the 5 body parts, again, I studied this in details even before I studied the Bodynamics. And when I came upon Bodynamics, I was very happy because it actually gave me the necessary resources to understand this research method better. So that was a good part, okay? So the unwanted child experiences. So basically what William Reich said, further, I actually studied this in detail through Liz Bourbeau. She's a French-Canadian researcher that wrote the book, The 5 Masks That We Wear. The idea is that, and that's the idea within the bodynamic system is also the same, okay? I'm going to come back to this body system later on as we're actually going to discuss the structures and everything else. But the basic idea behind William Reich's idea is that there are 5 major body types. The way they are shaped, this is the way a human being is shaped a certain way, is based upon their traumas and stressful situations that they, A, experience it in their childhood, B, have reacted to that stress and trauma by kind of wearing, to use a special phrase, wearing a certain mask or a certain persona, personification. Okay, if you remember when we discussed Carl Jung's idea of what ego represents, right? The idea that we all wear certain personifications, when we talked about anima and animus, about the idea that we all wear certain masks and certain personifications, okay? We act a certain way to kind of protect ourselves from unwanted or undesired hurt. So each body type basically, based on research, again, this was research done originally by William Reich in the 50s of last century. It was proven by many, 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 many researchers that did many other researches on the body-oriented psychology. Bodynamics is one of them. Again, in the 80s, I believe, I believe it was developed in the 80s, maybe 70s, but in my mind, it's in the 80s. It must be done that way. By Lisbeth Marcher. She's a Swedish psychologist. She had a whole team of people working with many people. For 10 years, they worked. Then she published the research. She started making some conclusions. And the whole, yeah, right, it makes sense. It was in the 80s because, yeah, now it's about 40 years it exists, right? It became extremely popular within the last 10 years when after more than 10 years, after doing research for over 30 years, and there's a whole institute, there's a whole Bodynamics International, all that stuff that exists, that again, more and more research proves how bodynamics practice actually works. It's primarily mostly used in trauma-related therapy, but it's actually used in many, many other places as well, okay? 5 body types are, one is unwanted, extremely, extremely skinny, bony, I would say, kind of person, okay? The trauma experience, the major trauma experienced by this person is rejection. Then there is rejection or abandonment. There are different researchers say different things. Okay, most people say it's abandonment. I'm sorry, not rejection. This is based mostly the skinny, bony kind of person is that who experienced abandonment. Then there is a needy child. The needy child, again, those two usually intermix, okay? Again, the needy child could also be mostly experiencing rejection, but it also could be experiencing abandonment. There's a whole theory because of the age, the way it based on the age group that those two traumas are experienced. Those are two primary traumatic experiences that are experienced by people. It occurs as early as within the fetus, within the womb experience, as well as during birth and then soon after birth, okay? Notice this body type is drooping shoulders, like the person is like, like weeping ivy, weeping tree, like we discussed in the specialist course. Very, there's no support in the body. The body is very droopy, okay? Notice that's how they even positioned here. The next one is called the endurer. This is the person who experiences shame, the trauma of shamefulness, being shamed and shamed again. This is mostly experienced during the potty training stage, okay? According to Freud, it would be anal stage, right? This person is overweight. Like, actually, you can see that person being overweight. Like, a lot of overweightness in the area of the stomach, area of the back, other area of the upper area would have overweightness. The thighs are overweight, okay? This is the person who experiences guilt, too much guilt associated with being shamed a lot during a critical development stage of, mostly this occurs during the toilet training, potty training, but it of course happens in other areas of life as well. Okay. The fourth body type is the controller. It's actually goes according to the leader. Now, interesting to note, this body part is again, those two, the last two also tend to interchange in their traumas. The controller leader person is a person who experiences betrayal, or the person who experiences like it's either betrayal or it's, I'm trying to remember, betrayal or it's connect, right, it's either betrayal or it's letting down, similar to betrayal. The idea is that both of these body types, this body type has also tend to be on the slender type. No, this one. The perfectionists tend to be on the slender. It is similar to the unwanted, to the skinny, bony type, but this one will have musculature. Okay, now the skinny, bony one, even if they work out, they will stay skinny. They will not gain muscle. They will gain muscles and will be totally momentarily. It will go away very soon. This one gains a muscle and it stays. They're into perfectionism. They're into being obsessed about being correct about everything, being idealistic about everything. This obsession is about ideal view of the world, getting to the ideal, people are having to act according to the ideal view of the world. And the controller is the way it's the leader. Both of this, by the way, are leader types. Okay, they're great leader. They're the kind of people who usually become leaders. These two types cannot be leaders. They don't have what it takes to be leaders. They don't have the vision associated with it, the ability, the responsibility to. They don't take responsibility upon themselves to be responsible for other people. This one may take responsibility for others, but it's more connected to nurturing, caring, not as much responsibility as over, I would say, over protecting or over nurturing. This is this is the type of if you ever saw Everybody Loves Raymond, the mother who constantly wants to feed somebody, this kind of person, okay? Personality who wants to feed the world, who wants to take care over the world, okay? Over nurturing, basically. Those two, the last two, are the leaders of the world, okay? Whoever leaders you see of the world, they will be one of those two good leaders, okay? By the way, if they're not good leaders, you know for sure they're not one of this, okay? And by good leaders, by the way, I do mean there are also bad leaders. Most of the, by the way, tyrants of the world are one of those two, okay? Meaning they're not necessarily bad leaders. They also try, they're good leaders. They don't necessarily do good for their nations. That's a different conversation now, okay? But it's interesting. Now, this one will be also a bit overweight, okay, compared to this one, okay? But compared to this one will be overweight and people will see it overweight. This one will be overweight, but they will have, notice this one also, by the way, has a droopy. They will be droopy, they will be rounded. But this one will have musculature and will have structure, will have a spine, will have an erect spine, okay? It will have an ability, like you can see this person has identity. This person has, will. That's the idea, okay? And that's going to be the difference between the 5 body types. The idea, the core belief of the Bodynamics system is that the human being is a social being motivated by a deep drive toward contact and connections with others. That's without losing pride and dignity. And that's what they are talking about when they talk about, I'm going to discuss this later on when we talk about mutual connection, okay? The core values, the core goal of Bodynamics practice is to connect to understand the dignity and worthiness, okay, to connect to self-value, to self-dignity for any person, because dignity and worthiness is built up in any individual, every single person. We talked about it during the first module, as we talked about the conception, the soul having a mission, the soul agreeing to come to this world. And that's where it connects to, okay? The soul, every single soul has dignity, has worth, and it has self-value. And they reconnected to it. They rediscovered this through the deep sense of mutuality and compassionate affirmation, okay? This often when the core aspects and emotions of the human, of any person, of any self, is not affirmed or supported in childhood, okay, it leads to the creation of defenses, which then becomes a source of relationship problems later in life, okay? The defenses is what we talked about when a person works out a certain body type, okay? Resource building, using the body as a resource, we assess in building new psychological competences, okay? When the usage for the Bodynamics practice is to learn how to bring resources, to connect to resources, to build resources for successful outcomes within any goal, within any question, within, as I like to say, attaining happiness as a way of life, okay? There are many, many different ways the Bodynamic practice works. What I want to focus on here, my major goal here, is to bring you the characters, okay? There are 7 stages of character formation, okay? Character structure, it's called, okay? We have 7 stages. 1 is existence, 2 is need, 3 autonomy, 4 is will, 5 is love and sexuality, 6 is opinion, and 7 is performance and solidarity, okay? I'm gonna go into each one of them in details because it's important for you to be able to understand as we will connect to it, okay? I'm actually gonna make 3 videos, okay? According to each module that we will explore this in, okay? So for module 1, okay, we're going to connect, okay? Here's the kind of the quick glance at all the structures. For module 1, as we're connecting to the mother structure, okay, we will be connecting, I will let you know about the first 3 stages, okay, the existence, the need, and autonomy. And altogether, this will cover the pregnancy. Even though it says here second trimester, I'm gonna bring you my opinion that we start this from the moment of pregnancy, okay? As soon as soul enters, as soon as zygote is built, the egg is connected with the sperm, we're going to start counting because it already starts counting. It has been proven that the soul already enters. I mean, it hasn't been proven, but it has been proven by research, by medical research, that a human being already being formed, okay? So we'll keep that in mind, okay? And up until 2.5 years, I would say it's about 2.5 years, okay? The second module will cover the stage of will, okay? I will separate that video so you can watch it when we will get ready for the second module. The third module will include, two stages: love and sexuality, and opinion formation. As we're in second module now, the mother. The third module is connection to the father. That would be the will. The fourth module will be connecting to love, sexuality, gender identity, opinion formation. Okay, all of this we'll cover in module 4. And in module 5, we will connect, actually, module 4 will also connect us to solidarity performance. And module 5, it's going beyond, okay? Let's talk about each one's exactly, okay? I want to explain a bit more about how bodydynamic character structures work, okay? What bodydynamics is looking is that a person, basically a baby, okay? Let's take the first, for example, okay? The first structure is formed, like I said, during the pregnancy and up to 3 months, okay? So what happens there, if a baby, either the fetus or the baby or during birth, most of the time it happens actually during birth or after birth, if an infant experiences any stress or trauma, and this is what happens, okay? If the stress or trauma is experienced in the early position means earlier within the structure, meaning if this experience during the fetus life, okay, during the time when the person was in the womb of a mother, then the person will experience an early position trauma. If this is experienced in later, meaning during birth or after birth, this is called a late position trauma, okay? Early position, if there is severe or early disturbances during a particular stage, the child will be likely to give up the impulses to act and feel in ways appropriate to that stage. Basically, this person will constantly be kind of short of the average development. It will kind of be always behind in their peer development, okay? If we're talking about developmentally terms, okay? And I'm not talking about just children, I'm talking about adults. You know those adults, they don't always act maturely. This is the idea. In adult, they will appear to be pre-conscious or outside of awareness, a position we call early, okay? This is the origin of the psychological resignation. Late position is when the disturbances like trauma and stress occur during a particular character structure stage. They either were less severe or they occurred at a later time, okay, within that stage. So the person will have the tendency to hold back impulses to act or feel, but they will basically act more rigidly. Okay, this is called the late. Basically, this person will be mature enough and will be up to par with the peers, but they will maybe even beyond the development of the peer, but they will act more rigid, more kind of containing themselves, not overly impulsive. Okay, the first position will be overly impulsive. Now there is a healthy position. Okay, more or less, some people have healthy. Most people will fall into early or late, but some people, at least some of the stages, will have healthy. Remember, nobody can have healthy in all the stages. That's called lifetime working. That's the purpose of bodynamics, for you to work on your ability to reach this healthy position. So in order for the child to be able to be his or her true self, okay, the parenting ought to be adequate, good enough in Winnicott's terms in the younger structure of childhood, okay? Meaning, basically, some people, I'll tell you, I went through the bodynamic practice. I practiced it. I took it on a personal level as a study, a lot of things, okay? I started doing it in the 2020s. So it's about 3.5 years already as I did it. It takes time, but it does work. People do change. People do attain in certain areas healthy position, okay? Certain areas they can attain, certain areas it's a lifelong work. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? How do people get a healthy position originally? Good parenting and good environment, okay? That's what would assure that the child will be able to maintain deep connection, okay? Connecting to their parent, connecting to the environment, being able to connect and understand how others are acting, kind of being able to see things from a healthy perspective, okay? Without having any deep traumatic connection to anything or seeing things, their perception is not kind of marred by any deep trauma. Okay, and that's the idea. Let's read this part, okay? Imagine a small infant whose very survival depends on having the basic needs met. If the baby doesn't experience safety around this, the baby will fall into deep despair, okay? Now, the same, by the way, it works like that. Two children or even three same children can receive the same thing will happen to them, but each one of them will perceive it differently, okay? Another infant may sometimes have their basic need met and some other times they don't, okay? Sometimes, so it's not stable, okay? We talked about attachment theory. The stability is the key with infants. The baby may become distrustful of their caregivers. Remember attachment? The child whose needs are met by a good enough mother, we'll discuss the good enough mother term as I will do the preparation, the second part of the mother presentation, okay, toward the end of this week. They will likely experience the feeling of being self-satisfied, whether it's a contact, food, safety, love, play, or diaper changing, okay? Let's go further. Okay, so early positions are marked, it's what happens in the early position that person, that child, gives up a part of themselves to maintain the relationship. The idea is that my mother or my father or my caregivers will not love me if I do this, if I continue being persistent, if I continue crying, if I insist of being picked up, they will not love me. So I need to give up a part of who I am in order for them to accept me. So basically, it's struggling with acceptance. That's the idea of, the idea of abandonment or rejection, okay? Leads to resignation in the muscles and fascia, okay? That's why they have a droopy muscles, okay? Look at this. They're very droopy, okay? Their muscles are not like, they don't have enough resources to uptake themselves, okay? Leads to feelings of emptiness, lack, like something is missing, but they're not sure. Okay, those people often say like, I don't feel adequate. I don't feel connected. I feel like something is missing. I don't feel, that cliche phrase, you complete me. So they kind of constantly feel nothing would ever complete, like they don't ever feel complete. Okay, black holes, they don't know what, and they don't know, you don't know what, and you don't. Oh, right. This is about, again, this is like more childish position. You don't know what it is, you don't know. Okay. You're not aware, basically, the mental capacity is not so developed, okay? And very low energy, of course. Okay. They constantly need to be resourced. They constantly need to be given energy. Late position is giving up the relationship to maintain a part of themselves. Okay. If the mother doesn't pick me up, I will continue crying. If she doesn't pick me up, it will teach me to not trust others and not to depend upon others. So I will work out. You see, look at their body is rigid. Their body is balanced. Look at them. They're not droopy, but they will work extra hard or overcompensating by saying, I am doing enough for myself, okay? I will make sure I don't depend on others. Over here, it's over dependency on others because they didn't get enough attachment, okay? They will all constantly look for the attachment. They will constantly want to be attached to others. Codependency, all those, what do you call that? Issues with like alcohol and drugs, it comes over here. Over here, they would never experience codependency, alcohol, or drug because with them, it's the opposite. They say, I will never be dependent upon somebody else. It's the opposite. It's not being able to maintain deep relationships with anybody. Over here, they maintain deep relationship and they kind of overdo it because they kind of over rely on somebody to give them love. But here, they say, I don't need love. I'm fine by myself. I can love myself, okay? And that's the idea. It's about their body looking like they're armored and they shielded, they're very erect. They have they have a nice erect spine. They do have a very high energy. They have enough energy. That's why I said they're leaders. They're able to connect to others and be able to maintain ability to lead others, to kind of regulate others. And over here, if we're talking about muscles, over here is like low muscle tone, and over here is high muscle tone, right? They're rigid. Their muscles are constantly tensed. And over here, their muscles is constantly soft. There's not enough muscles, okay? Healthy position is field resource marked by feelings of confidence and competency. Can lead to white hole things. I know there's something I don't know, but at least I'm aware of it and I can look for it. I can learn. Okay, flexible energy. Okay, sometimes to be soft, sometimes to be rigid as necessary. Healthy position. So in each structure, early positions, meaning trauma and stress in early positions will lead to certain despairs, to certain personification, to certain masks that people wear, to certain kind of disbalance. For example, in existence, okay, if somebody experiences early trauma, early position trauma and stress, they will have a mental kind of disbalance, okay? Mentally, they will not be developing as well. If somebody experiences late, I'm looking at it now. They tend to become more emotional, Okay, if somebody is experiencing a healthy, they are secure beings, okay? When it comes to the need, okay, we're going to talk about each structure. Need is about getting their needs satisfied. If in the beginning of that stage, their needs are not being satisfied, they will experience despair. If their needs are not being satisfied in the later stage, then they will develop distrust. And if they're being taken care of, they're taking care of, the caregiver gives to their need, takes care of them, responds to them as necessary, they become self-satisfied, okay? We'll talk about each of this in details, okay? Let's talk about the first three, and then I'm gonna separate the video into two more parts for you to experience in each module. I don't want to give you too much at the same time, okay? Existence, okay? Existence carries over from second trimester to third month, okay? Again, I believe it happens from the very first day of pregnancy or fetus formation, okay? Where a basic imprint of one's right to exist and the sense of being alive is formed. Remember, we talked about it. The soul comes to the world. The soul gets the 5 layers of the soul, okay? From womb life, okay? Birth and then early infancy up until 3 months, okay? In an adult, the disruption from this stage can manifest either a withdrawal from connection, meaning the person avoids connection, okay? And they have a very strong mental life, okay? So basically, they mentally build themselves up for understanding that, you know what? I don't need others to connect to. I don't need others to depend on. I'm a strong person and I am enough for myself, okay? I can buy myself flowers, so to say, right? Talking about the famous song, right? I love, by the way, that song, right? I think Miley Cyrus quite deservingly received that Grammy. I was surprised to hear she never got one before. I was like, wow, she's a great singer, right? And that's the idea, mentally connecting to the fact that, you know what? I don't need others. I don't need to codependent, right? Which talks about her struggles. So talking about Miley Cyrus, right? She went from being codependent on her boyfriend slash husband that they had a relationship for over 10 years, on and off, right? And she talked about it being an unhealthy relationship, right? That being that they both were codependent. She especially talks about her side, her being codependent, right? Constantly they broke up, then they got back together, broke up, right? Until she got to the point where she said, you know what, enough is enough. She mentally started understanding that I can give myself flowers, I can go dancing myself. I don't need another person. So basically kind of closing herself up for emotional. Again, I'm not going to say that's what exactly happened to Miley Cyrus. We're talking about like a kind of part of her, okay, that I kind of read up and researched, okay? The research about how that song came about. And it's very interesting, right? And one must have a strong mental life, okay? Or a person will have anxiousness about not being connected. You'll see those people, they're constantly connected. Those are the people that constantly, they break up with somebody. The next day they form another relationship, talking about, again, celebrities. I think who was it? Yeah, Jennifer Lopez, right? She broke up with one boyfriend, then she had Ben Affleck, then she broke up with him. They said like literally next week, she started dating Mark Anthony. She married him right away. They had kids, and of course they got divorced. Now she's back with Ben Affleck. The idea is that inability to be on her own. Now you can see even the way her body looks, even though with celebrities, it's a bit hard to look at the body type because you know why? Plastic surgery, right? We know, you can understand she had work done, right? That's not the point. The point is that personality-wise, like even reading her interviews, even seeing the way she behaved, she's a very self-sufficient person as it is. She's a water element, so she's a high element. She understands a lot of things. But it's interesting to note that she kind of changed her view of life, right? But there are people who are like totally dependent upon connections. They break up with one person, form a relationship right on top of the other. Oh, I have a best friend who is like used to be my best friend, right? She was like that. She had an amazing person she was dating. Whatever, they broke up, he broke her heart. Right away, she started dating somebody else. Why? Because inability, this inability to maintain unconnectionless. She needs to be connected to somebody. She needs to form a connection. She needs to feel wanted by somebody, okay? By the way, this part of, this possible loss of connection part is a basis for the sexual disorder, right? When people are sexually, got the name of it, you know what I'm talking about, the traumatic, it's a disorder, right? Obsessiveness with sex, right? This is what it is. Not having enough emotional connection to others. So as a result, kind of overworking themselves, okay? Looking for an emotional energy through the connections with others, okay? The developmental themes of the first stage is existence, spirituality, and physical being. Sensations or emotions, there's an emphasis on that. Okay. The focus is on sensations, the emotions development. Okay, we're going to deal with it next session as we talk about emotional development. The focus is on contact, physical contact, we know is very important, as well as emotional, energetical, right? Feeling the energy, connectedness with the baby. Again, this is a focus on the mother, right? We talked about it. The me, okay, the I ego. Who am I? What am I on my inner self, developing of the inner child, okay? Rhythm and matching, okay? Connecting to the child. Again, this is focused on the mother energy, experience of contact, experience of yourself without the contact, okay? Over here in the beginning, the baby, the fetus and the infant is so connected to the mother, they don't see themselves as a separate entity, which is what's going to develop in the next stage, okay? But over here, they're still totally dependent. So whatever the mother experience, fully experienced by child, because the child does not understand that they're not the same. At this point, they think they are the same. So whatever the mother experiences, and if the mother experiences some kind of negative, not consciously, non-consciously. If the mother had a very hard birth and she feels she's tired, she's not able to hold the newborn baby, she's not able to connect because she's not feeling well, or there were health issues, or there were complications in birth, or even before birth, and the mother will even unconsciously will say something like, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I wish I would be more, and oh, I wish this baby wouldn't take so much energy. The baby doesn't understand all the behind information why the mother said that. The baby will feel that this is, I am unwanted. I hurt mommy. Okay, that's why I am not a good person because I hurt mommy. Okay, the baby will get the baby basically will personalize all the experiences and sensations that the mother experiences, but they get it on a disconnected from the mental awareness term, okay, way. Like totally on a subconscious level, they will just kind of, the perception will be there, like, oh, I must be bad if I'm hurting mommy, or if mommy's tired because of I gave her a hard birth, okay? They personalize everything, what's happening, okay? Mirroring, that's called, what I just explained, okay? Mirroring everything that mother has, okay? Early mental, people who experience early position are mentalists, okay? They kind of run away from this disappointment, this idea that I am not good enough, I'm being rejected, I'm being abandoned because I'm not good enough. And they develop this mental stage where, you know what, who cares? I don't need them anyway. I'm fine by myself, okay? They tend to have dissociation, general attribute, dissociation, okay, splitting in the head and the thoughts and the, you know, the kind of the head takes over, you know, those children who kind of tend to fantasize a lot. The child will feel unwanted and threatened by annihilation, okay? Feels connected to others only through thoughts. You know, we're so connected to each other through the thoughts, okay? Avoids physical and emotional contact, becomes emotionally absent. Existential terror, rage of annihilation at the core, holding deep, okay? Existential terror is that, why did I even come to be existed? I don't, maybe it's not good. Maybe I shouldn't exist. Maybe I should not have existed. Okay, this is the idea behind suicidal tendencies, okay? Fear of fragmentation, okay? Feeling isolated. This, by the way, existential terror, I want to bring, it's not, I don't want to scare you or alarm you. It's not necessarily only experienced by people who are, you know, suicidal, but it's a certain, like, even very faint way of suicidal tendencies, such as when people think, you know, if I wouldn't exist, you know, remember that Christmas movie, I forgot, that famous movie where he thinks what would happen if I wouldn't exist. And then the angel shows him the world without him would be doomed and all that stuff. Then the angel gets the wings with the bell. Forgot the name of it. It's a famous movie that they show every Christmas. And that's the idea, right? That a person would start thinking and conceptualizing within themselves what would happen in the world if I wouldn't exist. And there's also the idea of fear of fragmentation, right? The person feels like they're different parts. They have different parts of who they are. They're not one whole connected person, okay? They feel disconnected, like different parts of them are like different. They don't feel that they're whole being, okay? Isolation, feeling energetic, looking for a contact energetic more, okay? Not emotional, more in the energy-wise. Thinking philosophically tends to depersonalize. Right, this idea, I'm not enough. Energy is drawn to the bone, okay, this bony person. I am focused, looking into distance because they're thinking too much. They're into mental ideas, taking up little space. They will take little space, uncoordinated when moving, okay? If we're talking about the body parts, it was the very first body position that we saw over here. Okay, this one, connected. Not taking space, okay? Staying away from taking too much space, basically. Okay, the late position will be they feel disconnection between emotions and body. They're not as emotional, by the way, they're more drive. They feel secure at one point, but at one point something happened. Remember, this is late position. So the trauma and stress occurred in the late position. They feel like they're not no longer wanted. Like some kind of sense of having lost the paradise, and they keep like wanting to get it back, okay? They're into emotional contact. They're very much into emotional contact. They kind of try to connect more on an emotional level, they insist on emotional contact. They tend to feel lonely if they don't have it, okay? And they will get this perception that, oh, maybe I'm too much, okay? Energy is located around the bones and the skin. Kind of skin looks flushed, okay, more reddish because, again, connection to the emotion, connection to the blood capillaries, okay? The idea is this: I feel, I experience, therefore I am, okay? They connect their existence to the emotion they experience, and over here they connect their experience to their their thoughts, okay? Since I already told you this, the healthy experience is about secure being, happy to exist, feeling wanted, accepted, protected, secure. Okay, as they grow up, they have a lust for life. They can integrate thoughts and feelings. Energy moves freely in their body and their head. Okay, enjoys contact, enjoys being alone. Both parts are fine. I'm okay being alone. I'm okay to contact when I'm in contact with somebody. Integrating creativity, sensitivity is emotional energy and presence. Okay. I'm not going to go into ego functions at this point. The character structure and existence, the key sentences. What I want to focus is here. Ideal messages is interaction. This is what you're going to focus on. We're going to keep repeating this ideal messages when we're going to draw the mandala. Okay, where we're going to integrate all 7 structures, okay? The messages that the person wants to hear, okay? This is, the left side is early structure, the right side is late structure, okay? Somebody who is very emotional, they would love to hear this. Somebody who is more mental, they would love to hear this, okay? Both cases, it's I love you. In both cases, you can say both of them, actually, by the way. The truth is, I use all of them, to be completely honest with you, okay? I'm staying here or I'm here. You have the right to exist. I'm going to give you all these messages when we do the drawing, okay? This is for you to kind of read. Again, the first structure is connection to the mother archetypes, acceptance of who we are, the relevance to our inner world. Our first meeting with the life on earth, Mother Earth, subconscious world, our roots, okay? The second structure is the need. It goes from 1 month old to 18 months, okay? The idea is somebody taking care of my basic needs, the establishment of the relationship with the parents. Again, focus still on the mother here mostly, sometimes father, sometimes secondary caregiver, but still connecting in the beginning. The early position will be connecting to the primary caregiver. This will lead to self-regulation as adult, okay? If there's a disruption in this page, it can manifest either as despairing or a distrustful attitude, okay? We're going to discuss both, okay, about getting your needs met. Basically, the idea here is that the world will not meet my needs, okay? If the first structure was the world is happy to see me, or maybe the world is not so happy, the world is not interested in seeing me and having me exist, over here, the focus is on the needs. Will my needs be met? Will I have my kind of desires and needs fulfilled? Okay. Developmental themes are the rhythm of being awake and sleeping. The sleeping pattern is developing here. Beginning to say yes and no. Okay. Will I be honored? Will I be respected on whether I want something or don't want something? Remember, feeding happens here. Just plopping a baby with the food, whether the baby likes it or not, whether they want it. I know so many parents who do that. The baby wants it or not, they will plop the food in their mouths. It's like, no, listen to what your baby does. I remember doing this stage, we actually did the exercise of the food. We had to bring different types of food, and we had to kind of experience, connect to that food. Very, very interesting, okay? Again, the mirroring here also happens but not as much as the first structure, okay? In exploring the contact with others, okay? Claiming the right to have their needs fulfilled, expressing their needs and emotions, okay? Connecting the world with object, having the right to experience a state of being fulfilled. Okay. By the way, whoever doesn't get this met, they will constantly look for they even when they get satisfied, they can't connect to this deeper inner self sense of deep satisfaction. It takes a long time for this to develop. Okay. Balancing between giving and taking, same thing. Either taking too much and because they feel like they don't have enough, there's not enough resources that the world has to take care of them, or giving too much because they're hoping that if they give too much, they will get something in return, okay? Again, disbalance there. Early despairing person looks like this. Late distrust, late position distrusting, look at the eyes. The eyes will kind of, they're going to be more controlling people, and their eyes will look at you like distrustful. They will never trust you. Despairing is like, oh, I'm constantly looking to connect with you. I'm constantly looking, I'm giving you so much. Why aren't you giving me back? Okay, despairing. Okay. Um, So the early position will be, again, despairing, okay? This occurred because general attributes. Mother is emotional, absent, does not meet the needs of the child. Child, for example, is left to cry for alone for hours. On the end, does not fulfill the needs, does not recognize their own needs. The child, as a result, does not recognize their own needs. The mother does not recognize her own needs. The child ends up feeling dissatisfied, like I said, like no, even when they have a full satisfaction. This is, by the way, again, the feeding disorder, right? The feeding, right, feeding disorder when they eat, and they don't feel the satisfaction. They don't feel they're filled up. They don't have this connection to food, okay? And it's actually connected to other, their needs not being met, okay? Feeling abandoned, feeling like they're left behind, waiting for the nourishment to come, again, feeding disorder. Can love others, but has difficulty taking love from others, doesn't believe that they're worthy enough for others to love them back. It's about accepting, able to give a lot, but it's about not able to accept, okay? The other by the way, distrustful is opposite. They tend to take a lot, but they don't give as much, okay? Energetically and emotionally merges with others and environment, loses self, okay? Connecting too much, too much, again, this is codependency. If you're happy, then I'm happy, again, codependency. It's all okay. Physical abuse, by the way, occurs with people like this who are not able to connect to themselves, to understand that you should not be hurt. You have a sense of worthiness. Connecting to others. If it makes others happy, I'm happy. Not being able to take care of themselves. Okay. Their development of babbling, their verbal development is higher, by the way, than the average. They result in they can have anorexia, or bulimia also comes in here, by the way. Okay. Physical attributes, the eyes are like this doe-looking eyes. You know how the expression doe eyes? This is what it is. Okay, lips tend to be full and loose. This type tends to be a little more like into enticing others, because remember their idea is to lure others, because I'm dependent on others. They're very much interested in emotional connection. So they're more seductive type of body they will have, okay? They will feel deeply with what they need. They dress usually like very more appealing. They want to appeal to, they want to attract somebody. They want to make sure that they always have somebody who will connect to them, who will kind of take care of them, maybe, you know, because they're looking for somebody to take care of their needs, okay? They feel deeply with what they need. They know how to connect to somebody, and they absorb. They do. They need to learn how to build capacity for satisfaction. They need distinguish between their own needs and others, okay? Learning to not be so codependent, okay? Healthy boundaries, basically. The late distrustful tendency is mother only half meets the needs of the child. So this person is like, you know what? Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. So there's this distrust. I need to take care of my own needs. I'm not going to be dependent upon others. Being a bit paranoid, distrustful, bitter, dissatisfied again, also dissatisfied. Certain others will not fulfill their needs, will feel misunderstood. Take whatever you can get, right? Remember, I said more about receiving than giving. They are aware of their own needs. By the way, this is more, they have boundaries, but maybe too much boundaries because they focus too much on what they need. And if they don't get what they want, they get a bit bitter, right? Pessimistic, glass is half empty. The previous one, by the way, is optimistic, glass is half full, the despairing one, right? Makes emotional but unarticulated demands, okay? They will tell you what they want, but they will not ask for help. They will just say, demand what they need, okay? They may give you, but if they don't receive back, they will let you know that they're not going to be happy that they didn't get something. They only give you to receive something back. So again, this kind of, I will give you, they form like contracts, you know, I will give you, but you make sure to, I will only give it to you when I make sure I get it from you, okay? Their defenses are complaining, you know, nothing will ever satisfy them, can result in bulimia, okay? So the stressful ones are bulimia. One eye sucks in, the other one pushes away, right? Look at this face, right? One eye will be bigger than the other because they're like kind of thinking, can they trust you or not? Okay. Lips tend to be pursed, you know, like more thinner. They need to learn to communicate their need. They need to themselves know what they want, build the capacity for satisfaction when needs are met. And again, learning to build emotional contact with others, okay? Healthy needs at this stage is satisfying and feeling secure that their needs be met. An adult, a person that is resourceful, will have a sense of what they want, what they need, okay? The adult body will have soft contactful eyes. They will hold their head and spine it in an erect way. Their lips will be full. They will be comfortable reaching out for their needs as well as taking in. So they know the balance between giving and taking, the balance between asking and receiving, you know, being able to ask and being able to say, okay, I'm able to take, to accept your help. They will be able to enter into an intimate relationship with expectation, believe that they can express their needs and they will receive a caring response. They will be happy to reciprocate that with the person, right? I'll be happy if you love me, and how they have a healthy connection. They're able to connect healthy with other people, okay? They will have a sense that They will mutually deepen the closeness between them. Okay? The key, by the key sentence here, you can read on your own, is the early position will say, I don't know what I need. On the late position, the distrustful will give you the messages that I always get the wrong thing. Like, I come to the restaurant and they always give me the wrong thing. Meaning they ask for whatever they want, but they don't get it. Over here, the early position, they will be like, I come and it takes me a long time to decide what I want to order. Kind of. The messages, again, we're going to use these messages when we're going to draw the mandala. You have the right to have your needs. You have the right to be seen and met, okay? You have the right to demand that your needs are met. I accept your dissatisfaction when I cannot meet and fulfill your needs. So basically, answering emotional. Even if you're dissatisfied, I accept it. It's okay for you to be dissatisfied. Okay, basically allowing the person to connect to whatever position they connected to. That's number one. Acceptance is the key in both cases, okay? This, of course, is a connection to the father archetype, okay? And we'll be learning with this in the I still think in this case, we're connecting it to the mother, but a lot of times the father archetype will connect it to much later, okay? And the third structure we're going to explore today in this video will be autonomy, which is connection between development between the 8 months to 2 years and 2.5 years approximately. Okay, it's about curiosity and the force, moving them to explore the world through exploration of psychomotor skills. Psycho is physical development, okay? Child impulses toward autonomy is formed. I would say, yeah, this is more, we're probably going to transfer. I'm not going to discuss it here because this is more connected to the father archetype, okay? This is what we will talk about in connection to first steps, to the way the child develops physically, because that's exploration of the world, okay? We're going to explore this in the next module, okay? So for now, I'm going to finish this presentation, but I will create more videos of this presentation for us to explore the Bodynamics practice. And the next video, you will see the drawing, the practice already.